This is just a quick rundown on a video I did earlier. Basically, this is a photo that I found on the internet, and right here you can see is the Bowden tube. This will be actually placed inside the coupler, and the idea is in order so that the Bowden tube doesn't continue all the way through to touch the nozzle, because what happens is the heat around the nozzle location, the heat from the block and the nozzle causes crystallization of this white Bowden tube if it's too hot. Anything under, say, 210 Celsius is okay for long periods of time. Anything above that could be troublesome. So what I'm going to do is place this back up here. So to keep the nozzle or the Bowden tube from getting down to the nozzle, you want it to stop about right here, okay? It still locks in so that it doesn't pull out, and your filament right here can still be delivered from the extruder. So you have the extruder, all right, and then it will deliver filament. It will feed, say, yellow filament in this case, through the Bowden tube all the way from the extruder while the head is still moving. That's the whole idea of the Bowden tube delivery, is that you want the print head moving back and forth without any problems blocking it or extra weight with direct drive or anything like that. So continue to use the Bowden tube delivery. You get the tube, will go into the coupler. It threads in only so far. And then right here is a spacer. This will be placed in this location so that the white tube can't go through or this blue tube can't go up. So what you do is you place a short piece of high temperature blue tube in this location right here. See, right there, okay? And then it will take the heat that's caused by the heat block and the nozzle. So that way the idea is your white tube stays here to deliver the filament. The spacer is placed right in this location right here, so it actually will hold the white tube back. The blue tube will be placed in from the bottom in this particular case, and then you will thread the nozzle in, which will press up against the blue tube, holding it here permanently in place. So it's pushed all the way up. No gap will be here, because when you thread the nozzle in right here up against this tube, it will slightly press against the blue tube so that it's sealed right here. There'll be no gaps for filament to leak out, and it will have to go through the nozzle. So the filament will remain fairly rigid all the way up to this point until it gets to the very hot part of the block. Then it will start melting. So the filament is rigid all the way to here. Then it starts melting right where it should. No oozing out any space, because there wouldn't be. So this tube would be permanent, and then the nozzle would then be placed in place. So this whole setup will be able to be used without any changes. Now, if the blue tube becomes, say, something happens, you use it for a lot at higher temperatures, because now you can print at high temperatures, and it won't really matter so much to the tube up here, okay? So the idea is if that starts to maybe decay a little bit, cut yourself several of these pieces. Let's go here. Object, duplicate, boom, boom. Let's get several of these pre-cut, okay, so that if indeed this tube starts to go bad, you take this out from the top, you pull it out, right? Then you place another one in the same location, brand new, okay? And then you're back to where you were before. So the idea is this is a way so that you can still use a high temp delivery. Or this is the white regular standard delivery low temp tube, which is great. You have your spacer, you have your high temp tube, you have your nozzle, which is threaded in, and it'll pinch, literally pinch this tube in place. So there you go. That's how it's done. You don't need to get that aftermarket metal high-end hot heat break, whatever the hell they call it, because they're saying you have to rethread this location. You've got to lubricate this location so that filament, when it mushrooms out, because again, with that heat break there, the filament is still going through a metal piece. Even though it can dissipate the heat well, it's still going to get soft right in here, and it might mushroom out and cause friction and a problem. So keep your regular hot end, return this right here in place. So now you have your white tube delivery, you got your spacer to keep anything from going through, you have your filament continuing on through, and it's good to go. Give it a try. See what happens. What can it hurt?